Rob Rogers, the longtime Pittsburgh Post-Gazette political cartoonist, fired last month after the publisher and editorial page director rejected his works criticizing President Donald Trump, tells his own story in his latest sketches. Rogers begins his new cartoon strip, published Tuesday on the comic site The Nib, with Trump uttering his signature, The Apprentice catchphrase, "You're fired." Okay. He didn't actually say that to me. But he might as well have. Rogers wrote of his firing, which came amid a spate of editorial controversies involving the paper's pro-Trump publisher, John Robinson Block, and newly installed editorial page director Keith Burris. In the series of cartoons titled, "I Was Fired for Criticizing Trump," Rogers recounts his long history at the paper with little pushback from his bosses, until the 2016 presidential election, when Block spent time with then-candidate Trump on his campaign plane. Rogers said earlier that Block's oversight of his work intensified this year, when Burris took over as Post-Gazette editorial page director. According to Rogers, the paper's bosses rejected 19 of his cartoons, about 90% of them related to Trump. "I began to envision the two of them as Master Blaster from Mad Max: Beyond Thunderdome," Rogers wrote in his new comic strip. "My bosses said my cartoons were not funny. Maybe they weren't laughing because they were seeing their own beliefs laid bare on the editorial page." One of Rob Rogers' rejected cartoons, spotlighting Trump's policy separating undocumented immigrant children from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border. Block, explaining the firing, told Politico earlier that Rogers had become too angry, and not clever and funny. Burris told the Post-Gazette that he had asked Rogers to adjust the tone and frequency, and make his work funnier. The Newspaper Guild of Pittsburgh, the union representing the Post-Gazette editorial staff, has been outspoken about Rogers' firing and other editorial scandals, including an editorial by Burris decrying criticism of Trump's racism as McCarthyism, and Block's request to remove Trump's "shithole countries" remarks from an Associated Press article and replace it with the term "vulgar language." "Our publisher is requesting us to remove that real Donald Trump's vulgar language from the lead in our adapt story about his vulgar language." Pittsburgh Post-Gazette at Pittsburgh PG, January 12, 2018. Following Rogers' firing last month, the union took out an ad in the paper to affirm staff members' independence from the editorial page. "This is not just a job to us. It is a calling. In these trying times, we believe local, quality journalism is more important than ever." More information on today's ad we put out in the at Pittsburgh PG, https://t.co/pren4w5ssmpic.twitter.com/pisga1howie. Newspaper Guild of Pittsburgh rolled up newspaper. At Page News Guild, June 19, 2018. Rogers' cartoons continue to be published in syndication. The unpublished cartoons that preceded his ouster will be featured in an exhibition at the Corcoran School of the Arts. See Rogers' new cartoon strip here. Related coverage. Editorial cartoonist critical of Trump fired from Pittsburgh newspaper. Download. Do you have information you want to share with HuffPost? Here's how.